And after Bareilly Ki Barfi released, with the kind of love Kriti got, with the kind of love Rajkummar Rao got, and Ayushmann Khurrana, it gave hope to a lot more filmmakers. Where are the producers? Can I get an action film, please? And there is no guarantee that even when you have a male actor, an action film is working.
That's true.
Come on, let's be honest to ourselves. 20 years of being married. And I used to play a lot of good pool. So he kind of saw and said, "Wah, kya pool khelti."
And he was impressed.
And the few downsides would be having absolutely zero time for each other. When I delivered kids, my twin kids, our twin kids, and I had to stay at home for 3 months. And that was the most difficult time of my life, is because I'm not used to staying at home. I need to work.
Yeah.
We also fight like crazy. We have very strong point of views. Right now, verbal abuse is the new physical abuse.
Hello everyone, welcome to News 18. I am Titas Chowdhury in conversation with Ashwiny Iyer Tiwari.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, Ashwini?
Good. Very good on a Monday. No, today's what? Tuesday. Morning.
Yeah, but you have a lovely office.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Ashwini, your film Bareilly Ki Barfi, by the way, has re-released. It's still running, I think.
Yeah, is it? I have no idea. Sometimes what happens is that the whole excitement of watching your film again in a theatre just gives you so much of joy. And after that, I think I've learned how to detach, is because you just can't like keep thinking about the past and say, okay, fine, ye tha, wo tha. So I keep moving on. So then I've completely detached. So I have no idea what's happening, where, what, how. I'm also off Twitter, so I have no idea what's happening.
Wow. So, when it had released, I think it was quite a surprise hit. Yeah. Because, I mean, of course, back then, Kriti Sanon wasn't the star that she is really today. Were you guys also pleasantly taken aback with the response the film had at the box office?
See, the intention of making cinema was just to tell a story which could redefine the way we were used to telling stories at that point of time. So this I'm talking about 2016, 17, 18.
Yeah.
2016 is when I made Nilbatti Sannata. That released in 2016, and 2018, right after Nilbatti Sannata, I made Bareilly Ki Barfi.
Right.
And I wanted to create a kind of grammar of cinema which we were so used to seeing in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Where people used to come and watch these happy people with those idiosyncrasies, and we used to have like characters which had some kind of faults but were still a lot of fun. If you like honestly say the Rishikesh Mukherjee kind of films, and I always used to enjoy that, and I felt that I wanted to get back that cinema, but with the lens of the middle India. And therefore, if you see that the whole point of view of Bareilly Ki Barfi was from the point of view of one person who has seen everything. Therefore, Javed ji was the one who gave me the voiceover, because he was someone who I wanted to say that उन्होंने जिंदगी देखी है, रोज जो जा रहे आ रहे वो जिंदगी देखी है, वो जिंदगी कहाँ मिलता है अभी देखने के लिए, बंद दरवाजों में कभी जिंदगी देखने मिलती नहीं है. So that's something which I wanted to create, and I was fortunate that all the three actors, Rajkummar Rao, Ayushmann Khurrana and Kriti, came on board like on the spot. Like after one narration, they were on board, and three of them. I think for a director, the most important aspect is when their actors shine.
Yeah.
When Kriti, Ayushmann and Rajkummar Rao were appreciated after Bareilly Ki Barfi, and I give hope. For me, hope is a very important word, because we all stay with hope that, if something works in any field, if something works, okay, then there is hope for more cinema. And after Bareilly Ki Barfi released, with the kind of love Kriti got, with the kind of love Rajkummar Rao got, and Ayushmann Khurrana, it gave hope to a lot more filmmakers and also to a lot more storytellers to dive into the cinema, which is called the middle cinema, maybe.
Yeah.
And people thrived on it, and actors got more opportunities to work on cinema like that. Kriti, I know for a fact that worked on a lot of films which came her way, which was from Middletown.
Sure.
Rajkummar Rao did that. He got from a very serious tone to doing comedy. And I always say this thing: a good actor is like a chameleon.
But my favorite thing about Bareilly Ki Barfi has to be Pritam Vidrohi.
Yeah,
he's the best.
Yeah.
How did you come up with a character like that?
See, so I must give credit to my writers, Shreyas Jain and Nitesh Tiwari, who are also equally a part of my vision. And to give the name Pritam Vidrohi has purely come from Shreyas and Nitesh.
Wow.
I'll also tell you why is because experiences and what you see comes in the stories we say. And they have lived in Madhya Pradesh, they have lived in smaller towns, they have seen people like them, you know, who, and to give a name like Pritam Vidrohi needs a lot of effort.
That's true.
And it just comes when you are doesn't come just like that, it just comes just like that.
Yeah, lovely. You mentioned action. Will we ever see you directing an action?
See, for me, I'm open to all kinds of cinema except horror.
Because you're scared of them yourself.
I don't watch horror films.
Okay.
But I don't mind watching psychologically led films which has something more related to the brain.
Yeah.
But if I just have to watch horror just because I want to get scared, I can't. It's because I am a very warm person that way. So I don't like any kind of, conflict as such. Action, yes, but action also needs to have a meaning to it.
Yeah.
I love sports, so action becomes like a by the way, which you need to be interested. Like I said before, you need to be interested in a genre to start dwelling into it.
Right.
But if you're not interested in the genre, then how much ever you try, you would not enjoy doing that. So you need to love what you do. And for me, action is something. If it has a meaning, if it is doing something beyond just the action bit, then I would love it.
Yeah.
I think as a person also, I'm someone who needs to find meaning and purpose in everything I do. And if I'm finding meaning and purpose in doing an action film, where are the producers? Can I get an action film, please?
You know what? I feel, of course, see, action films are made in galore today, right? Every other month there's a release. But I think what lacks is we haven't ever seen a true blue women-led actioner.
Yeah.
Right? That is something that's missing, I think, here. And I think a lot of actors would actually be interested, female actors, in doing a film like that. You as a filmmaker, on being on the other side of the business, why do you think, maybe makers are not taking those kind of risks?
The makers are not taking those kind of risks is because the audience is not willing to come and watch it in cinema. So we need to make sure that we tell a story which is diagonally proportionate to the kind of money we would be needing to put into an action film. And let's be honest to ourselves, how much ever we try running away and saying that, that we need to make different kinds of stories and we need to make sure that we as storytellers are fearless in telling the kind of stories we need to say, but we also need to be mindful about the amount of money which is going into films. So the direct proportionate cost of return has to be also viable enough. What's happening in cinemas is a reflection of what audiences are liking.
Yeah.
And we need to be smart enough to say we are going to tell different kinds of stories and we need the audience to come to cinema. But if I have a damn good action story and if I have a platform like Amazon or Netflix who is willing to put in the money and say, you know what, we are going to back a damn good action film which is led by a woman.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great way to tell a story.
Yeah.
The fear comes in. The first sentence is that, yaar, kaun aayega?
Because it's a woman led.
Because it's a woman led, one, and also because there are a lot many other factors. And there is no guarantee that even when you have a male actor, an action film is working.
That's true.
Come on, let's be honest to ourselves. It is not anymore about male or female who's leading. It is about no one knows what is working. No one knows what is working. We need to be questioning ourselves that how willing are we to tell fearless stories and keep it in a way which is commercially viable. So I always wonder that why do all films need to be 100 crores?
This new concept of alpha males that we see today in films, not all, but a few, is there room for an alpha woman, you think? In your narrative, maybe your world, Ashwini's world of storytelling?
Yes, of course. I think there are a lot of women I know who have a little, I think all of us at a stage of our lives in our careers and who have grown up working and making space for ourselves, not the younger generation, because they've seen us growing and making our space, and therefore we make sure that we give them an opportunity to come and work and be themselves. But all of us have a streak of
we do.
Of an alpha female in us, and there's nothing wrong in that. It is important to have that alpha streak. And it is important to have that alpha streak to keep your sanity.
Yes.
Because if you do not have that, then you can be taken for granted in many ways. And to not take yourself for granted, to keep your self-respect in place, it is important to have a little alpha streak.
Yeah.
An alpha streak doesn't mean being bossy. Alpha streak doesn't mean being nasty.
Toxic,
and toxic. Alpha streak means having a strong say in the things you believe in the place you want to be in having a strong sense of responsibility of why you are where you are. And what is the kind of person you want to be, to set an example for the others around you. That is what for me alpha female is.
And there is room for her on the big screen.
There is room for her on the big screen, and I think there is a lot of room for her. For me, I think Kriti in Bareilly had a little alpha streak in her.
I recently saw this very nice post on Instagram. It was an old picture of you and Nitesh sir, and I think it's 20 years of being together.
20 years of being married.
How's it going?
It's going great.
How did you meet?
We met in advertising.
Okay.
He was working in Low, I was working in Lubenet. And we met through some common friends in an after party.
Wow, after party. Okay.
Like advertising agencies have a lot of after parties.
I get it.
So, yeah.
What do you think is...
And I used to play really good pool.
Really?
Yep.
He too?
Yeah, he used to play and I used to play a lot of good pool. So he kind of saw and said, "Wah, kya pool khelti."
And he was impressed. What do you think is, let's say, the upside and the downside of having a partner from the same field of work?
I think there are a lot of upsides. There are few downsides, and the few downsides would be having absolutely zero time for each other.
Yeah.
But the upside is that we all love our work, and that's why we are in this industry. And to give each other space and to just say that, that it is okay, that understanding and the sheer need for each other to grow comes from a space of maturity and also a space of that we need each other to do well. So for me, it has never been, or for him, it has never been that I think the only time maybe it was a point of conflict, or even if he had a chance, then he would have been at home, is when I delivered kids, my twin kids, our twin kids, and I had to stay at home for 3 months. And that was the most difficult time of my life, is because I'm not used to staying at home. I need to work.
Yeah.
I think that was the only time I was at home. But I still worked from home. And that was the only time he could not do anything. But he just still made sure that at night when he came back from work, he was taking care of the kids. So I think it is about giving mutual respect to each other and just letting people be.
Yeah,
letting people be. I don't think so you can change for anyone. And if you're expecting the other person to change in a relationship, that's the worst thing which can happen. So we all have our idiosyncrasies. We also fight like crazy. We have very strong point of views, but we don't expect anyone to change, and we're very non-judgmental about it.
It's a marriage of equal partnership, as it should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely equal partnership, where there are very strong point of views, but it is important to hear each other and just make sure that we walk along. Because I do feel that this is now, it comes to that alpha female, you know. When there's strong women in the house, you tend to start respecting that. And a simple instance would be, I'll just give you like an example, is that my son and daughter are in class 9 now, and I think they must have gone somewhere, and they continuously were messaging me and calling me saying that UPI, just do it now, we don't have the money, my card is not working, blah blah blah, continuously. Then I did that UPI. I was in a meeting and I like quickly did that, and then said, oh, send us a screen grab, otherwise they won't give us food. And I was like, I didn't check that screen grab thing. And then after some 15 minutes, I checked the group, our WhatsApp group, and Nitesh had just written like 2 sentences. Guys, she's in a meeting back to back. Can you all stop troubling her? Whereas I'm at home and you all can just message me or call me. Why you have to call her? And next time you all please ask whether she's in a meeting or she's busy. Just don't randomly call. That said a lot about the thinking of a person.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because he is my husband, but I think I'm also surrounded by a lot of men who think that way. And it is important that we as women surround ourselves by men who think that way. When a man of any age puts you down through his words, that's a big red flag. I think it's important that, for me, that self-respect is very important. And I do feel that when you're and you choose also the right man in your life.
Yeah, that's
and
very
it's not
true.
about a life partner. It is about the friends you have.
Yes.
It is about the partners you have. For me, that is very important, is that the people I choose to be in, people I choose to be in my life has to be equally encouraging me as much as I encourage them.
Yeah.
There is room for fights, but there's also room for dialogues. But the day a person disrespects you, right now, verbal abuse is the new physical abuse. And that really hurts.
Yeah.
So for me, that is very important. Is the way you speak to a person shows a lot about the person you are.
Yeah. You know, I think the other thing, women, especially women...
It's almost like women choose your men carefully.
Yes, of course.
Not only your husband or your boyfriend
your
or whatever.
Circle in general.
Yeah. Choose the men in your circle carefully.
Yeah. But what's next for you?
A couple of things. We're producing quite a few films. As you know, that we have a tie-up with Tips. And Ramesh Turani ji and his daughter Jaya Turani. I think again, every time I meet Ramesh Turani ji, I just feel that, you know, he has reared 3 women daughters who are doing so good for themselves and who are leaders. And the kind of conversations I have with Jaya, it just feels that, you know, she's an alpha female. And it's so good. And she's the one who wanted me to partner with them. And Ramesh ji felt that I need to partner with them. So, you know, that's how change happens. And I kind of got so many calls saying that this was a surprise. Because you just feel, oh, it would be like, the partnerships can only happen between
men.
Two strong men.
In power positions,
in powerful positions. But no, this is how change happens. And I'm very fortunate, and I have a lot of gratitude for this kind of association, which allows us to tell more stories, which can be centered by women, for women, by women, for everyone, where there is a new conversation starting. And then I'm directing a couple of films, but that I can only say in a few months' time, not now.
But if you can tell us, are you still doing that Sudha Murthy biopic?
We're still writing that. Okay. It's taking far too long. But I would love to tell their story, but it is taking a little time.
Okay, great. Looking forward to what you do next, Ashwini. Thank you so much for this chat.
Thank you. Want you to be also interviewing more.
Thank you so much. Yes, I will.
You are a very amazing silent listener.
Thank you.
And then you put in thoughts on that, which is great. You should have your own podcast.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashwiny Iyer Tiwari and you're watching News 18.